Hi everyone, welcome to today's cluster API release meeting. Today is 1st of November 2023. As usual, please add your names to the agenda, and if you have anything to discuss, add it to the agenda list. Just a reminder, this call is recorded and later will be uploaded to the YouTube channel. We follow CNCF code of conduct, which boils down to being kind and nice to each other. And also, if you want to speak up, please use a hand raise feature of Zoom. Yeah, with that, let's get started. The first one from me, PSA, or probably a question to the team. Do we want to cancel next week's release team meeting due to KubeCon? I'm fine facilitating it, but I believe most of the folks will be away, so we could just cancel it. Yeah, okay. It seems most of the people are agree. Okay, then let's probably cancel it. The other one, moving on to the discussion topics, just a heads up, code freeze in 2 weeks. That's on Tuesday, 14th November. I just wanted to bring up that to your attention. If you have any PRs that you are working on and you want to be included, let's push it a bit so that it makes it to this release. Otherwise, all should be good. Are there any questions on this? Okay, if not, then the next one is also from me. I noticed we had announcement on the Slack channel, but we forgot probably to announce the yesterday's beta 1 release on mailing list. So I would kind of ask comms team if we could do that and send the announcement to the mailing list about the new release from the yesterday.
Yeah, I think Willie was gonna do it. I'll send him a ping for the mailing list, and I can do the announcement in the CAPI office hours.
Thanks. Yeah, next one. I think I saw the thread. Michael, are you working on that? Yeah, if you want to give a brief update on that.
Yeah, I think I might have misunderstood the ask too. So I have a PR up for this. But I think Killian, you had made the comment like update the action to use the hash. At first I interpreted it as like use the container image hash, but that didn't really make sense to me on second thought, because the problem I'm running into is like the QBuilder release tools image gets built when a tag is created. So doesn't seem like there's an image on every commit, unless I'm misunderstanding.
So this has been annoyingly complicated throughout because it's the way the releases have gone here for something that is pretty simple. So there is an image which is built on every release.
Mm-hmm.
So from CAPI, we have a GitHub workflow which imports a GitHub action from the QBuilder release tools repo.
Right.
So what we want, as far as I know, is the hash of the latest commit on that repo, assuming the latest commit actually has the right
CAPI
image. So can you go, fork out of whoever's sharing, can you go to the QBuilder release tools repo? So this is the repo, if you go to action.yaml.
It does not.
So this is now on 0.4.1, which doesn't include the fix, right, the null pointer error that was merged during the week.
Correct.
So this, number one, this needs to be bumped to 0.4.2,
Yep.
which will point to an image that includes that fix.
Yep.
So that's number one. And then number two, in CAPI, we need to use that commit or a later commit here
Agreed.
as the hash. And then instead of tag 0.4.1, write a note explaining what's going on. If we do that, we will lose the automatic bumping of this version, which is done by another GitHub action, or sorry, by Dependabot GitHub action. But yeah, that's the trade-off. Yeah, this has been a journey.
Yeah. Okay, so I think I got it. Like the PR I have up is basically the step one you had shared. But I guess it's just always a two-step process, because when I make the change for like the change we made for release 0.4.2, the image 0.4.2 doesn't exist yet. So I can't change this, I think.
You should change this and just assume
Okay.
that there will be some delay
Just
in the release
assume that it'll
working,
work.
because
Okay.
it can't possibly work the other way unless somebody goes back and manually retags the release to a different commit. So, but I think what happened yesterday or whenever that merged was that commit was the release commit was missed. So there's also other places in this code where the version of the code being imported is wrong, because it's in a couple of places. I can't remember, but yeah, that's the issue. It's just there's an order of operations that was missed in the release of this, and I think Vince really doesn't want to do another release after doing 2 in the last week, which is probably the most. I think this project has probably had 5 releases in total. So yeah, but I think we should be fine using the hash as long as we leave a comment in our action explaining that that's what we're doing, and hopefully syncing to a tagged release down the line.
Makes sense. I'll get it taken care of.
Yeah, I missed also yesterday that we have to bump this, but this is kind of strange because it's a chicken and egg problem. You have to put a tag of the image that doesn't exist yet. I mean, yeah, but thanks for clarifying. And for the next time, probably we could use it.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how the images for this are created. I'm not sure if there's an action that creates the images for it. I am not that familiar with this repo. So maybe it is a chicken egg problem, or maybe it could be possible as well that there is a manual process for publishing these images. I'm not sure. Oh no, it says there that there is a tag. There is some automation for building those images.
Okay, thanks for clarification. I think that's all clear, right? Michael, can we go ahead to the next one? Or you have any other questions?
No, I'm all clear. Thanks.
Thank you. Moving to next item, Navas and Killian, test signal for v1.6. Consider dropping machine pools for some templates.
Thank you, Killian, for first of all adding the issue and summarizing the thought really clearly over there. This is more of a PSA. Also, to take an opinion from the community that we are planning to drop the machine pools part of test from the cluster class, machine pool part from the cluster class tests in release 1.6, because the flakes we are seeing is mostly in main and not in the release 1.4 and release 1.5 test signal. I think we are looking for opinions, or what do people think about dropping the machine pool support, or at least testing machine pools from cluster class self-hosted tests in main. And Killian, please feel free to add more context.
Yeah, I think that's a good summary. This issue that's open right now is a bug that's definitely impacting these flakes. I'm not confident that this is the only one. I have no real experience in the machine pool code. So if we could get this fixed, there would be a better chance of keeping the tests in. But I'm just sensitive to, we need a length of time to get a green signal, which normally for us is like the release candidate to release. So that's from, in this case, November 13th to 28th or 14th to 28th, which is in like 2 weeks time, but one of those weeks is KubeCon. So I'm not that optimistic about getting these issues fixed in time for that. But yeah, if we did have a fix, that would be great. But otherwise, I think it's better to be proactive, remove the test from release branch 1.6. I've explained in that issue that this isn't a regression. This is behavior that we were never testing before. So I would expect machine pools to have this exact same issue outside of the cluster class implementation. But we're not testing machine pools in end-to-end in release 1.5 at all, as far as I could see. So yeah, I think this is kind of a not an ideal situation where you're dropping a test because the underlying behavior is buggy, which is the case here. It could be the underlying behavior of our test infrastructure. There's more information about it there. I don't want to get into the details, but yeah, I would just, I think this is the release team and the CI team's call to make. I also plan to bring it up on the community call later on. We have this issue for discussion, but if anybody has any opinions on this, I'd love to hear them.
I totally agree. I think this is, we should be proactive, as you're pointing out, and see if we can get it fixed before the 14th of November. And if not, I think we'll not have enough time to be able to chase it down. So I think it's safe to remove the tests to deliver the minor release on time based on the schedule. So yeah, +1 from my side. Any other comments from someone else?
One more thing, I think, to add more context, I think the cluster class and the machine pools, both of them are experimental features. So not really sure how big the impact is because we are still going to test this on main, but we are going to drop that on release 1.6. At least from my side, I think it is a good path to take and go ahead.
Yeah, that reminds me of yesterday's discussions that we had. So currently on the release notes, we are stating that there is a machine pools, like cluster class clusters are supported in machine pool. So there was a call out yesterday from Nawaz that we should have some kind of note or remove them from the highlights at all. And I think that would depend on the situation, right? How it goes until the RC release is out. And depending on the situation, we would either remove them probably if it's not fixed, or if it's fixed, we could just leave it. Any opinions, or can someone maybe clarify if I'm not understanding it correctly?
Yeah, I think from my point of view, just my own opinion, this is a tricky one. This is the big feature we have in this release. And again, I don't necessarily think that the implementation of the feature is buggy. I think there's underlying issues, which might be just in the Docker implementation. which means our test won't run properly, but this could run absolutely fine on CAP or CAPI or any other provider that implements machine pools. So I would kind of defer to the people who've worked on the machine pool cluster class implementation for what they think. I would try to understand that, but I think it's easy to remove it out of the highlights. We could do that very easily for release candidate 0 and not have it in the highlights, and that's fine by me. I think it's strange to have something in the highlights and then have 3 or 4 lines of caveats of which situations it's not useful for. So maybe the simplest option is just to remove it from the highlights for this release and understand that there's limitations to it, that we don't want to advertise the full feature yet. But at the same time, I would hope that this will be fixed in 1.6.1 or 1.6.2 or something, an early patch release on 1.6.1.
Sounds good. Yeah, I have no other questions on this topic. Does anyone have any questions?
Just to
feedback. Yeah.
Just to summarize what Killian said, I'm really asking what should be doing going ahead. So are we not going to put that statement over there where machine pools are supported for cluster class at all in the release candidate? Are we going to remove that highlight altogether?
So my opinion, absolutely just my opinion, is that should be removed, and otherwise don't worry about adding the caveats, because I think this is a pre-existing behavior. And if you want to ask that question more publicly to get more opinions on it, please do ask in the channel. I don't know. I think those highlights were literally just my opinion. I don't think anybody else has looked at them yet. Folks have been busy. So people might have other highlights or other things they want to include there as well, or reformulate them. But yeah, I think if you want more confidence about it, ask publicly. But if the release team is happy to go ahead and make a decision, just make a decision and then be responsive to reviews of the release notes. But you know yourselves, outside the release team, there's not many folks who are actually reviewing the release notes. So if you want real input, you have to go looking for it. I think from, I guess the people who have been working on machine pools are Jonathan, Willie, Matt Boersma, maybe. I'm not sure who else was involved. I know Cecilia's reviewed a bunch of PRs and Stefan. But yeah, so maybe if you want to understand their opinion on it, you're going to have to look for it, I think, proactively.
All right. Thank you for that.
Okay. If no other questions, we are at the end of the agenda list. Is there anything that you would like to bring up before we end the meeting? If not, then yeah, thanks everyone for joining, and see you in around 10 minutes.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Can I add something? I completely forgot.
Sure, of course.
If you just a reminder that I have that too big of a PR open, refactoring the release notes tool, so folks can take a look. I know some of you did, but yeah, that's it. I know it's big and it probably takes some time to be reviewed. Just reminding everyone that it's there, so we can, try to get it merged before the end of the cycle at least. Thank you.
Bye, folks.
Bye, everyone.